Yo, what is up, you guys? Hope they're partying like every day is your birthday, because we got another one for you guys today. Now, did you know that sometimes when you are on the controller, it will mess up and you'll die to the enemy crew? And this video was also requested by you, so I appreciate you sending this one my way, because we got the point of an RE0, a Masterful character study. So without further ado, we are going to get right to it. Not going to have a long intro. This is, y'all, 26 minutes long, this video. So we are going to be doing a low part 1 with a low part 2. So make sure you guys do check out both parts if you want to. You know, you don't got to. I ain't gonna force you to do nothing. I can't really behind the screen anyway. But you guys, watch it now! Shout out though to Kevin Nayab for the video. Make sure y'all go show him some love, and let's see what we're working with, man.
I was wrong about ReZero.
Oh, you was wrong? I was wrong about a couple of animes too, man. I feel you. You just don't know till you know, you know?
Season 2 has made me realize something very important. That your experiences with media and storytelling
I gotta stop hitting
can
my elbow on
change
this
over
damn
time.
desk.
That no matter how set in stone you thought your opinions were before, it's possible to see something in a different light that elevates it more than the sum of its parts. If you told me a few years ago that ReZero would be one of my favorite anime in modern times, I would have laughed. But yet, here I am making this video because I genuinely believe that ReZero has become something truly special that the anime community has yet to truly appreciate. At its surface, ReZero
I do think ReZero is not talked out about enough. I feel that.
The main character, Natsuki Subaru, having a unique ability that allows him to reset the world every time he dies. And just from this premise alone, the series plants an inherent idea towards the viewer about what the story is going to be about.
What are you doing, dog?
Including my past self, had this expectation that the overall narrative would revolve around Subaru and how he had to overcome conflicts within the story using his new ability. Maybe he would have to outsmart his opponents or manipulate the people around him using his superior knowledge. In essence, the majority of people expected ReZero as a plot-driven story where its primary focus was on the action and a well-constructed narrative. You don't have to look very far for people criticizing the show's narrative or internal logic. Comments like these can be found abundantly online in any discussion of the series. However, this is where I think there seems to be a fundamental misunderstanding about what ReZero is actually about. And from my personal experience of the show, I think I can provide context of why that is and show how ReZero has become
inform me in that knowledge, brother.
Story of self-discovery. Back in 2016, when I initially watched the first season, I made a video titled The Problems with ReZero, in which I voiced my opinions and criticism of the show in numerous aspects, both what I thought was good and not so good. To give a quick summary of my thoughts back then, my main problems with the show were that there were essentially no stakes in the story because Subaru could just reset the world to get a timeline where everything just went his way. At other times, the show just felt like...
Ooh, I didn't think about that, not having any stakes, because, yeah, I mean... if you have infinity lives, bro, you just know you ain't gonna die. I mean, but you gotta think about it like this, bro. The main character is never finna die in any of the shows. You know what I mean? Not usually. I'm not gonna say that, because there is some anime that be murking characters off like, I don't even know. Like, we in the damn war or something like that. But some of them, you just know there's no way they could get killed off, bro.
Like it was torturing Subaru just for the sake of suffering, with each death getting more and more drastic. And finally, Subaru himself was at times borderline insufferable because of the way he acted towards Emilia and how much he made a fool of himself. With all these aspects compounded against each other, it was difficult to see just where the heart of the series lied. I don't hold the same opinions of the show as I did back then. Looking back now with hindsight, I don't blame myself, or anyone for that matter, to hold opinions similar to the ones I once held a few years ago. I still think that those criticisms are still valid for anyone who still holds them, but to only view that interpretation as the only correct one is dead wrong. And
yeah, come on, man. Everybody got their different opinions. Gotta love them and take them in.
Story, no matter how much it disguised itself as one. It was and always has been a personal character study. Once you view the series through this lens, it becomes clear what the overarching messages and themes of the story are. It was never about how Subaru would have to overcome the villains he faced and win over the girl he loved. It was in fact about how Subaru learned to become a better person. ReZero is a character study about self-discovery, and this is where I think many people fail to see or misunderstand what the point of the series is. So today, I want to bring to light the true underlying ethos of ReZero and show you
We
just
getting
how
deep into the
profoundly
series,
special
this one.
this story really is. Spoilers for Season 2. The inciting incident to this
Ain't worried about
season is having Rem erased from everyone's memories except for
Whoa!
Subaru. And try as he might, no matter how many times he returns by death, he's never able to save the girl who saw him as her hero. This makes Subaru blame himself for what happened as he carries...
Ooh, we're gonna go back one more time. Let's do it because I feel like I missed a few pieces of information. But she got...
Season 2.
Hold on.
The inciting incident to this season is having Rem erased from everyone's memories.
Why did she get her
except for
memories
Subaru.
all erased?
And try as he might, no matter how many times he returns by death, he's never able to save the girl who saw him as her hero. This makes Subaru blame himself for what happened as he carries the weight of one of his most precious friends. Subaru has never been more alone than in this instance. The person who had previously saved him from himself is now gone.
Damn.
And despite having the power to change the world, Subaru can do nothing. He believes that all of this is his fault and shoulders the burden by himself. But Amelia reminds Subaru that he's not alone.
Why the hell is she
and
petting
you
that man
shouldn't
like
be
a damn
forced to carry
dog?
the weight of responsibility by yourself. You have other people who care about your well-being, and in return will share
Don't get me
your
wrong, bro.
risk.
I love a little hair play, bro. When someone like, you know what I'm saying, be touching on your hair and stuff, that shit is angelic. Bro, low key, I be loving haircuts because of that. Y'all can't tell me, bro. I don't know, bro. Something about getting a haircut, that shit just feels so good. That shit is just so satisfying. But I don't know about wanting to be pet. If I'm sad and balling, bro, I'm not. They're there. You know what I'm saying? Don't be patting my shit.
Moments.
これだけはちゃんと知っておいて。レムのこと、一人で抱え込んで悩もうとしないで。私もちゃんとスバルの悩み抱えさせて。スバルが助けてくれたみたいに、今度は私もスバルを助けたい。スバルが傷ついているなら、なんとかしてあげたい。
Hey man, shout out, she a real one
In
though,
a show
bro.
that
I'll let her
throws the
pet me.
audience into a fantasy world filled with witches, deadly
Who the hell is in
creatures,
the
and other mysteries,
the walking
the most
cabinet?
cathartic episode doesn't come from any thrilling or bombastic action-packed sequence, but a slow, reflective episode where characters just talk about how they feel. It's one of the most emotionally poignant and cathartic episodes of ReZero, as we get to truly empathize and understand what Subaru had been through all this time. This is the one singular episode that I would point to for anyone who doesn't understand what the series is about. As Subaru's eccentric father Kenichi begins the episode by waking his son up, we can see that Subaru's room is littered with anime figures and manga.
Hey,
telling
shout
us
out,
that
Brody.
he's an otaku, much like the people watching this series.
An otaku?
After having what can be described as a weird breakfast, it becomes clear what the underlying...
What the fuck kind of breakfast they be eating in this house, y'all? What the hell? Is that rice? Rice and green peas? No, I don't know about you guys, but I don't like eating hella heavy right when I wake up. I like to have a little, maybe a little oatmeal. Maybe a little cereal. But peas with rice? I don't know if that's for me in the morning.
series. After having what can be described as a weird breakfast, it becomes clear what the underlying issue is.
The
Subaru
breakfast?
is a hikikomori, a shut-in, who doesn't attend school, doesn't have any friends,
shut-in.
and doesn't
He's an
do
inside guy.
anything. He's given up on life and just stays in his room, waiting for the days to go by. His mentality has gotten to the point where he's convinced himself that his life is utterly worthless. For Subaru, there
Damn,
didn't
bro.
seem to be much point in him continuing to live his life. He had, for the most part, already given up on it. I'm sure many of us at some point in our lives have felt the same way, that in the grand scheme of things, our lives didn't matter. We didn't see ourselves as anything special, and in return, failed to appreciate the things around us. Having a warped and negative perception about yourself is brutal as
I can feel with that, bro. Not appreciating the things around you. It just sometimes I don't know. Y'all. Ever since I don't know. It's just peaceful being alone sometimes, Just you and your thoughts.
on it. I'm sure many of
You don't have
us
to
at
worry
some
about nothing
point
else.
in our lives have felt the same way, that in the grand scheme of things, our lives didn't matter. We didn't see ourselves as anything special, and in return, failed to appreciate the things around us. Having a warped and negative perception about yourself is brutal as you slowly, over time, start to belittle and think of yourself as worthless.
Now you shouldn't do that now. You should never be doing that, y'all. You know you are a 1 in a million, gift on this motherfucking planet, bruh. Come on now, and that's why I always say, I know a lot of things are tough in life, but that's why y'all gotta be your own source of happiness, bro. Because if you don't love you, how do you expect someone else to love you, man? If you don't even love yourself, how would someone else love you? You don't even love you. Like when I say if you don't believe in you, how do you expect someone else to believe in you? It don't even make no sense, bro.
Believe that you don't deserve to live, then how can you believe that others want to help you? Subaru wanted his
If you
parents
just
to
soak
get
in your
angry at
despair,
him
you ain't
so
never
that
gonna
he
grow
could
and get to where you
validate
wanna
to
be, man.
himself that his life was meaningless, that no one cared about him. But his parents never did that, even though he wanted them to. All his mother and father ever did was try to support their son as best they can. They never blamed Subaru for losing sight of himself and were accepting of the fact that their precious son was going through a difficult time in his life. When he was younger, Subaru excelled in
Shout out to the
sports
parents, man.
and
Make sure y'all go tell your
academics.
parents you love them,
He
bro. They
thought
be
that
real
he was
ones.
the best in everything that he did, so much so that there was an expectation placed on him being the son of the great Kenichi Natsuki, and from that point on, Subaru lived in the shadow of his father. When you have that much pressure placed on yourself to do well, you don't want to disappoint the people who place those expectations. But in the long run, it can lead to a worse mentality and have devastating effects on how you choose to
It's hard to
perceive
live up
yourself.
something like
You're
that.
constantly being compared to someone else, and you feel as if you don't have your own self-identity. You begin to do things not because you want to, but because it's expected of you. And if you don't live up to those
Man,
high
fuck those losers,
expectations,
bro. You
you're
do what you
seen
wanna
as a
do.
lesser person, causing yourself to doubt your own abilities. You begin to criticize yourself. Why am I not good enough? Why can't I do this? And after a while, it takes a toll on you. You begin to realize that you're not worthy of other people's expectations, and this leads you down a dark path where you believe that you can't do anything, so what's the point in trying? This is the mindset that Subaru had, and I'm sure many of us can relate and empathize.
See, I think stuff like that is where it just comes to your mindset at the end of the day. Because some people go through that situation and they do exactly that. They just go in their room and shut down. They're like, oh, I'll never be good enough. They're just, what's the point of even trying? And then some people go in that situation and they're like, all right, I bet y'all don't think I'm good enough. Watch this. And then they strive to be 100 times better and then, they look down and they're like, yeah, that's what I thought. Shut your ass up. That's the person you got to be, bro. You got to take those hard times and, what people say and turn that into motivation to make yourself a better person and improve on you. But the last thing you ever want to do is let someone say something to you and then you stop, pursuing it in life and stuff like that, bro. How you finna let that loser who don't even know you be the reason you stop progressing to where you want to be? Come on now.
With. It's hard to deal with life when you view so little of yourself and have no self-worth. The only thing that can get you out is if you can change the opinion you have of yourself, which seems impossible. In the first season, when Subaru had just been transported into a fantasy world, he relishes the fact that he can now start over. And this isn't because he was excited to explore the world around him, but because he had already given up on life in the real world. He never wanted to go back there. In this fantasy, he could start over again, not having to worry about what others thought of him. He could go anywhere.
Wait a minute. I'm tripping and geeking.
And if you don't live up to "am I not good enough? Why can't I do this?" down a dark path where you believe that you can't do anything.
Is this like Jobless Reincarnation? He started in like a real world and then turned into an anime?
So what's the point in trying? This is the mindset that Subaru had, and I'm sure many of us can relate and empathize with. It's hard to deal with life when you view so little of yourself and have no self-worth. The only thing that can get you out is if you can change the opinion you have of yourself, which seems impossible. In the first season, when Subaru had just been transported into a fantasy world, he relishes the fact that he can now start over. And this isn't because he was excited to explore the world around him, but because he had already given up on life in the real world. He never wanted to go back there. In this fantasy, he could start over again, not having to worry about what others thought of him. He could go anywhere, do anything, and be the hero of his own idealistic story. But that's not what the series is about.
No.
The point of the first season wasn't to explore this new fantasy setting or showcase the suffering that Subaru had went through. It was about presenting Subaru's worst character traits and how he needed a change in order to become a better person. Throughout his journey, Subaru in the back of his mind always thought of himself as the lowest of society. He was selfish, arrogant, and didn't want to understand the feelings of those around him. This in turn pushed everyone away from him, and by episode 18 of the series, he was left alone, ready to completely give up on life just as he did in the real world. But things were different this time. Just as Subaru lays out everything he hated about himself, Rem showed him just how much he was a hero to her. It didn't matter what Subaru had thought of himself.
Damn, so that's y'all probably why that Rem thing hit so hard, bro. She was the reason, you know, he changed his perspective on life, and then she lost those memories of him. So that's probably why it was hitting so hard on him.
Left alone, ready to completely give up on life just as he did in the real world. But things were different this time. Just as Subaru lays out everything he hated about himself, Rem showed him just how much he was a hero to her. It didn't matter what Subaru had thought of himself. For Rem, he was her knight in shining armor, a person who saved her. It's through her supportive and loving words that Rem was able to save Subaru from himself. And by the end of the first season, Subaru was able to become someone worthy to stand as
those are usually your worst demons, man. Not all the time, but usually
genuinely connect with Emilia. Episode 4 of the second season encapsulates this character journey that Subaru had gone through by making him reflect on his past actions and realizing how wrong he truly was. In the past, Subaru thought of himself as trash who didn't deserve to live a happy life, and this made him truly believe that no one cared about him. But Subaru failed to see just how supportive his parents were. No matter if he was doing well at school, became a delinquent, or a shut-in,
damn, bro,
his parents never treated...
For real, y'all, make sure you go show some love to your parents, bro. You know what I mean? Damn, I did it again, bro. That hurt. But I think a lot of people take for granted their parents, man. Y'all, your parents are always finna be there for no matter what you do for your parents, bro. Or at least a good parent. Alright, because I'm not going to say every parent. But a good parent, no matter what you do, bro, even if you tell them you hate them, you do stuff bad, they going to be there for you no matter what. Friends come and go, bro, but your family finna be there forever. They are the real ones,
differently. Bro. Through subtle acts and gestures, they tried to help Subaru from the dark pit he was in. Although, ultimately, the only one who could pick himself back up was Subaru himself from the support of others. Through introspection and reflection, Subaru was able to realize his self-destructive mindset and break away from it. During his lowest moments in life, Subaru was unable to appreciate all the support his loving parents gave him. He thought so little of his own self-worth that he tricked himself into believing that no one cared about him, when in reality, that wasn't true. Having this kind of mindset is difficult, and breaking away from it is even harder. You start to believe that the whole world is against you, and so slowly your mind considers that giving up entirely may not be so bad. But time and time again, throughout the course of the series, giving up has never been the right choice. ReZero's Messages isn't a cruel story about dealing with suffering and being unable to escape from it. It's a hopeful beacon of light where people can choose to pick themselves back up no matter how far you've fallen.
諦めるのは簡単です。でも、スバル君には似合わない。レムはスバル君を愛しています。ここから始めましょう。一から。
Damn, I hope her memories come back one day, bro. I feel so bad for Brody. This was his, first boot thing.
Suffering by yourself and you feel as if no one is there for you, it can...
You guys, we're going to end it right there at the 12:45 minute mark. I hope you guys did enjoy this first part. Wow. Well. That's all I got to say, man. Well. I did not expect RE0 to be this deep. You know, this man is doing a great job getting in depth. But shout out to Kevin Naya for this first part of this video. If you guys do want to go check out part 2, you know what's on the channel, so make sure you do go give it a peek. But so far it's absolutely beautiful. I was missing the true part, or I was y'all also missing the true purpose of this show. You know, I never thought about it like this, and I love shows like this because they're things that you can bring into the real world. You know, it's not just you watching an anime, bro. You can see that and be like, oh shit, that's something I deal with. Oh shit, that's something I need to fix. It's just cool to see stuff like that. But I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'm gonna go get to part 2.